Check. We're good. And
we're on.
we're live. Jamsheed. Jamo. Jam. Welcome to the Pals Podcast studio. The new studio for those on YouTube.
The millions.
The millions across
and
YouTube.
Millions.
One viewer.
I feel honored to be the first in this.
This is the new setup.
Setup.
We got a big guest, big travel vibes, kind of right up our alley. We needed a more laid back, chill atmosphere, and it felt appropriate. So we brought the globe down though for the new studio. It felt like we needed that for the setup. But yeah, welcome.
Awesome. Thank you for having me.
Of course, man.
Of course.
Georgie told me some pretty, not crazy stories, but interesting stories of all the traveling, the trips you've planned for people. So it's nice that now that traveling is starting to slowly, I don't want to say get back to normal, but people are starting to want to go places again. It's nice to have someone in the travel space on the show.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this year has thrown the industry for a complete loop, but it's actually in certain ways going to be a good change. And I'm excited to talk about that at some stage as well.
Yeah.
Get into that.
And when you said on your way into that, like a lot, again, to Ricky's point, like the circumstances we're in, like travel's not back, and it probably is not going to be for a while. Again, I'm not going to make assumptions. You're going to be able to obviously speak more to that. But I mean, you said you've been seeing some more people starting to take more trips, and obviously, which we'll get into as well through your company, the Pelican Club, and all that stuff. But like, what are you seeing right now in the space? Are you seeing more people not as worried? Are you seeing people say, you know what, good time for deals? Like, what are you seeing with your?
It's interesting because there's a really good mix out there. There's a lot of people who are super concerned. There's a middle ground that's all for domestic, regional experiences and travel around their own countries. Mm-hmm. And then there's a lot of people who are willing to go out there and take a chance. It's a little risky, but still, I think it's a lot more based around the rules of quarantining and not quarantining and flights and how they're evolving. But Europe's moving a lot at the moment, so it's good to see that. It's good to see that come back, and hopefully Canada will get there soon too.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, do you find that...
Oh, wait, before you go any farther, I just need to realize this. We didn't do a little cheers. We got a little cheers. Ricky's getting ahead of us.
I'm getting right into it. Sorry, guys. I'm getting a little excited here. Cheers, guys. Cheers.
Thanks for bringing the wine. So we had a very famous guest yesterday. Brought some Guinness onto the show. So Jam will have to one-up him here with a nice fine bottle of wine. Hold on. You said there's a story with this wine?
Well, I'm not sure if you guys have heard of Charlie's Burger Wine Club.
No,
I have not.
A little bit of a shout out, actually.
Oh, shout out
Charlie's Burger. So, have you seen? Did you do that on purpose? You've seen us doing that? Okay.
I've seen us do that.
Okay.
Man, it's gonna become a thing now.
Yeah, that's a thing.
But you know what the problem is? As soon as we stop doing it for one episode, because most of our guests will watch or like listen to the most recent episode or two, so we got to make sure we do it every episode now.
We did like 100. No, what was the episode with Sam? We did just kept shouting or someone, everybody.
That was crazy.
But shout out Charlie Burger.
Charlie Burger wine program, fantastic. You get a wine delivery every month. It's exceptional.
And is it like, so you sign up and they're like, just based on your preferences or just based on what's popular? How do they decide?
No, so they bring stuff in that's not available anywhere else.
Okay.
And they curate it themselves. It's really unique stuff. A lot of Italian, French, and old world wines, but really unique stuff. I think last month they gave everybody a 3-liter red from Italy. It was exceptional.
Jesus.
So, yeah.
Actually nice for someone like me who does, I hate going to the LCBO to pick wine. I'm the type of person I'll call my mom, like, Mom, do you have any good wines that I could take to this occasion? And if she's like, no, I literally go and I'm like, I buy J-Lore because some girl once upon a time told me that was a good bang for your buck wine.
The last time I saw
I'm
George,
that boring guy.
Yeah.
Last time I saw George, he stole a bottle from his dad's place, I think.
Yeah, classic Georgie.
Which one did I have?
It's okay. We'll open it after this one.
So my to counter Ricky's point, like obviously you guys know this. My dad's like the big wine guy. Loves his wine. But that, like, listen, my dad's like the guy that like he'll be like, there's expensive wine, there's cheaper wines, and my dad will be like, you go to a restaurant and like a bottle might be super expensive on the menu at a really nice winery, and he'll be like, he'll see someone order and he'll be like, see, that's what you don't do. He's like, that bottle, you can get the winery next door to it, which is the same dirt, the same soil, the same grapes, the same everything for like half the price. So he'll know what estates are next to each other, which I think is like insane. I just figured out there's a left bank and a right bank in that runs through France and Bordeaux and all that. But
and one's predominantly Merlot and the other is predominantly Cabernet Sauvignon.
Yeah. See, all this stuff I should know. Like my dad's been like into wine since I was a kid. And like I have no idea. I mean, I have no idea. I know a little bit, but I probably should know more. Anyways, this is probably a good thing for us to explore. So this is the bottle from this month?
This is
Or is
not
it
from
one
this
like
month.
one
This
that's
I actually like so much I ordered a case of because you can do
wow.
that after.
What wine is this?
It's a Nebbiolo.
Let me grab this thing.
And they've got a higher version, which is called the Big D. That's absolutely
Big
insane.
D?
The Big D.
That's a great name. Is it actually called? It's called the Big D. Nice. I'll have to take a picture of this. I keep this. It's a pretty good wine.
So how do they send? Do they send in like nice crates or? So
Yeah,
a little
it's different every month. So you get either 1 to 6 bottles, and it comes with a full description about the winemakers, what to pair it with, how long to age it, if you want to age it, or just drink it. Just drink
Gives you
it.
recommendations and everything. Yeah, see, I definitely need something like that. Helps me like the basic wine knowledge.
even for me like a vodka one.
But that's all you drink.
Big vodka guy, vodka 7.
We got another thing on this table here that we should jump into as well. Which again, come and sit in the bar really high for most guests. Jamo brought us right up his alley. Travel books.
Future guests, hello, take notes,
Yeah.
guys. Dimitri came in yesterday with some coffee and then the Custom Pals podcast, Guinness cups, pint cups. That was amazing. And now today we've got books, travel related books.
Listen, I'm a big reader and I'm a big runner. I gotta shout out mine first. This is sick. Honestly, thank you so much. This is incredible. This book, so I have Lonely Planets. You can't see them in the shop, but they're like a couple of them right there. But this one might be the coolest one I've ever seen. I didn't even know they made this.
Give us a name.
So, Epic Runs of the World.
So it just means that whenever you go on a holiday now, you got to look through there and figure out where your morning run's going to be.
This is crazy. I'm gonna stay up reading this tonight. Like, this is incredible. So I don't know if you know this. I think I've told this story before. Like the first time I ran my half marathon was like while I was traveling. So I got like inspired to do it. I did Kili, and I was like, I want to do more things like this. So I was looking where I was gonna be, and I ended up running my first half marathon 6 months after Kilimanjaro. I trained for it, and I ran it in Tenerife in the Canary Islands. And like I was very ill prepared for it. Like I trained for it, but I didn't realize I signed up for like a mountain run, like a volcano run. It was absolutely insane. But yeah, one thing I've always done is like I've looked for things to run. This is actually probably a good little segue. I was supposed to actually run the Edinburgh half marathon this year. So I had signed up for it in like January or maybe even earlier. And it was supposed to be May 2-4 weekend. And obviously with COVID and everything happened, canceled very early on. I will say one thing, I think I told you this when we last talked. One thing I did find, the hotel that I signed up, that I paid for my stay there in Edinburgh, member of Marriott Rewards, and like I'm a member with Marriott. And when I went to go ask for a refund, I prepaid. They're like, we can't give you a refund. I was like, what? Like, can I at least even give me a credit for a year? That like, we can give you a credit for 3 months. I was like, I can't even travel in 3 months.
Well, see, the interesting thing is you probably did that early on.
Yeah.
And a lot of hotels, a lot of companies took that stance right off the back because it was just uncertain as to what was coming next, giving people a year worth of credit. Mm-hmm. Where 6 months in, a year worth of credit is worth nothing at this stage.
Yeah.
So a lot of hotel chains, a lot of companies have gone back, adjusted those policies, and you should probably give them a call again, or get us to do it. We do that kind of stuff.
My man, you want to quickly jump on which one?
I was gonna say, because I just, when I opened this book randomly, I came to a good page. So mine's Brilliant Maps for Curious Minds: 100 New Ways to See the World. And I just
good thing you gave Rick a map. He doesn't read a lot.
I'm not a big reader. I just opened up. I hit page 70. The countries with the most Miss World winners.
You actually randomly flipped that page?
I just opened it up. I was like,
that's ironically enough,
pretty fitting.
Yeah.
I can give you the answer to that one for sure. It's definitely India.
Yeah, India with 6. Guess 5.
India has the most Miss Worlds?
Yeah.
I just didn't know.
I didn't know that either, but I just, based on population.
What about the Scandinavian countries?
Diamonds in the rough.
Diamonds in the rough.
Scandinavian countries, yeah. Iceland, Sweden are in the top 8 here.
Yeah.
Actually, no, it's just 1, 2, and then a big tie for 3.
Okay.
So you got Venezuela as number 2 at 5. India's first with 6. And then UK, South Africa, Iceland, United States, Jamaica, and Sweden all tied at 3rd with 3.
South Africa.
If you think about Iceland, or Sweden, what their population is compared to
the amount of
if you look at their looks per capita, probably the highest in the world though.
But yeah, honestly, thank you for these books. This is it's such a nice, touching gift. And me and George, we've said this again numerous times, but when we sit down and meet so much more about new people and interesting people, and those are the type of people we try to invite on the podcast. When you guys bring us stuff, it's so nice.
The thing is, for us, it's about learning about the world.
Yeah.
And that's the passion that drives everything we do.
Yeah.
So sharing something like that where you guys get to see something in your preference or in your area or something that you care about, especially you, because I knew you before this well.
This is awesome.
It makes more of an impact to get to know places, get to understand what's out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
go ahead.
I was going to say,
I was gonna just make a comment here because as you open this here, nice little touch, the Pelican Club.
We're together on this. That's exactly what I was just gonna get into it too, man.
It's really weird now. I guess we're doing this
today.
so much that we kind of know the next segues to get into. But for those, I don't know if we said it. I think we said it earlier. But the Pelican Club, company you founded, co-founded.
Yeah.
I will start by saying most people can't see this, and I might get up and like show it.
Do you know what we'll do? Do a image on the YouTube video.
Superimpose zoom.
Yeah, boom.
See, I got this. The Pelican Club. I said this when you first told me about it. I think that the name, the logo, is like there's just something about it that makes it feel cool, exclusive, but also like I'm like going down to some cool like resort in like the Caribbean. There's something very fresh. I think the branding is an excellent job, which what I'm getting at is I obviously want to have you explain how this came about, how you founded the idea, how you came up with the name.
Bingo.
Absolutely. Yeah,
kind of,
sure.
Walk us through how you founded the Pelican Club and obviously what the Pelican Club is for everyone listening.
Yeah. Well, my background's in hospitality and luxury hospitality. And everything that we do is based primarily around luxury experience and seeing the world. And the Pelican Club came up. I moved back to Toronto after 17 years in Europe and realized that I felt that people just weren't comfortable traveling well. Didn't know how to find the right things, didn't know how to plan correctly. And we talk about so much online, but sometimes there's too much online.
Yep.
There was a time when TripAdvisor was the way to go. Now it's run by hotels. I don't trust their opinion. So it's about curating. It's about finding the best. It's about going to a place and understanding that you don't want to just go to a random restaurant down the street if you 2 doors down is an exceptional restaurant.
Yep.
You don't want to just go line up for an attraction that's going to waste half your day when you can walk right in, check it out, and move on and enjoy the rest of your day. And that's what we do. We help people plan, organize not just travel, but lifestyle as well. So everything from family holidays and honeymoons and random trips and corporate trips to even things in their own city to say, I want to host a dinner for 20 tonight. Anybody can do it. You can find the right people, but spending the time doing it right, doing it with a level of class, and that's where the branding comes in, is because we have to represent what we do, and you'll see that in our itineraries, in the merch you get as you go through the becoming a member. It's all part of a lifestyle of luxury. And I actually have this question for both of you. What do you each consider to be luxury?
Ooh,
that is a good one.
So I'll answer that in first. I consider luxury to be like almost like a state of mind and experience. Just mostly trying to wrap my head around it in terms of like travel and like hospitality and all that stuff. I will say that it's not just one thing. Like you can go stay at a 5-star hotel that looks all nice and glamorous, but I don't consider that like luxury. Luxury is what you feel when you're there, the service, the person at the door that remembers your name, they know when you're checking out, they know where you're from, and to a certain degree, like it's part of the job, they have to do it. So it's not always like it's not everywhere you go is genuine. It's different everywhere, but I think it's the whole thing. It's like the feeling that you experience when you're doing something nice or luxurious, but you can't use luxurious to explain luxury. But yeah, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I just think that encapsulates everything. It's not just like, it's a 5-star hotel, it's $500 a night. That's luxury. No, like it's everything down to the smallest detail. Like I've stayed at hotels that are boutique hotels, like in India or in like Barcelona, that were a couple $100 maybe.
Those are some of the best.
Same price as you would pay for like a regular 3-star in North America. And exceptional service, exceptional products, down to the soaps they use in the room, everything, and it's just the overall package, I think.
Okay,
that's pretty good. I was gonna say more or less high end or elite level service and attention to detail.
Okay,
I think those are some words that come to mind when I think like luxury, especially with traveling, because like George says, it's not always about the biggest or what some people might consider the best. Because if you think like in America, you have the Hilton and Sheraton, and those are considered like high-end hotels in a lot of places, but there's so many better, or even like Royal York, for example, the Hilton, W, those are considered high-end and, luxury hotels in a lot of places. But when you travel, you don't need to stay at those places to find luxury resorts or luxury hotels. So attention to detail and service are two things that I think really set aside luxury.
Amazing. Okay, so I'll give you my version. I think everything you've said touches on a lot of what luxury is. from a tangible aspect.
Okay.
From an intangible aspect, luxury is a state of mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's essentially knowing that you can have what you want when you want it without having to deal with getting it, without having to worry about going out there and searching for the hotel, figuring out which one to stay at, figuring out how to get the right chef to cook the dinner for your friends and family. And it's this aspect of saying, tomorrow I want the best, let's say, Jamaican meal in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And not having to go and search for it and deal with it and to call somebody who takes care of things for you. And that's what we do. We get stuff done. Our motto is leave it with us. Give us a call, send us a message, say what you want. And we build a very strong connection to our clients. So they get to know us in such a way where you're literally texting one guy and he's dealing with it. And it goes back to a concierge service which is where I started in the hospitality industry. And it's such an amazing world, the concierge, where literally you get things done for people in crazy ways. And I'm sure I've told you a bunch of stories over the years within hotels, but that's pretty much it. So when it comes to travel, we take it to a whole nother level. And it's not luxury in just that you're staying in a nice hotel because you can afford it. It's about your budget. Within your budget, there can be an amazing hotel, amazing experiences, as planned or as loose as you want it to be for you and what's important for you as a person, because yours might be focused around having some activity and some entertainment and yours and whatever else, whereas your parents' trip might be focused more around wine regions and exploring that and understanding that. And if you go as a family, we got to get a bit of both in there, right? So I think that's where it comes in this aspect of going back to the branding where we were before. And a shout out there to Laura McInnes, my designer.
Shout out Laura McInnes.
She does a fantastic job. So yeah, the logo for us, it's the detail. When you talk about a pelican, the middle of the logo is the feather of a pelican.
I will even say this is almost like a papyrus type feel of paper. Is
Yeah,
it, is
plus
that
like
the
the
logo?
gold.
Like
It's
the cross-hatching, whatever?
It's linen and fully sustainable.
That's it, yeah. This is linen?
Yeah, it's linen stock.
And
Because
fully
the way it
sustainable,
looks
buddy.
and fully sustainable, that's big. Eco-friendly travel. Isn't there some term that you guys use for like climate?
Yeah, well, we are, as a company, we're climate neutral. We're
Okay.
certified.
And what exactly does climate neutral mean?
Climate neutral is a company that looks at any business and says you can offset your business and figure out what you're doing and pay that back to the environment. And I think what COVID's done for us is fast forwarded so many years of us traveling smarter, traveling better, and traveling more economically in terms of our environment. Mm-hmm. And we're very passionate about that. We don't take clients who don't care about the environment. It's just, sorry,
that is huge, right? Because at the end of the day, too, like, when some people think, I don't know, this might be a bad assumption, but some people, think luxury, think you can just do whatever you want, like it doesn't matter. You gotta worry about your impact to the environment because money gets you wherever you want to go and all that stuff. But it's a common misconception, right? At the end of the day, like you
in Toronto, you go to a restaurant, how much do you tip?
I'm around 18.
Yeah, 18
18
20.
if it's good, 20 bad,
Depends.
15.
If it's bad, if it's
Between 1% to 2% of your holiday covers the entire carbon output in most cases.
wow.
So if you were to put 1% to 2% on top of your holiday, it's nothing. If you consider what you're tipping at a restaurant versus what you're spending on your holiday, you're giving back and cleaning that holiday up, and that's huge. And I think that we enforce that on every holiday.
You know what's crazy? You don't think about that.
Was a thing,
yeah, it's like you think about a good weekend getaway. Let's say you want to go to New York for the weekend. It's like, let's call it $1,500, $2,000 all in. It's like literally $20.
$20.
$20.
Yeah.
Can
just to offset
it.
Amazing.
Yeah, for
We got to
sure.
do
Yeah.
it. We got to do it.
100%. And more
How
people. Go ahead.
So how do people not know that though? Like, is that like a common option when you're booking online? Like, how does
A lot of airlines do it.
I've never heard of this. That's why.
Because traveling happens in individual pieces when you book alone. So you book your hotel might have a green program. They think they're doing their part. You book your flight. They give you an option. You probably ignore it at the end that says,
Offset your carbon emissions.
emissions.
I've seen it before, and I will be honest. Yeah, I've ignored it. Yeah.
We all have. Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I book directly. So just a side note as well, like when you book directly, I typically book directly through the airline when I book my trips instead of like Expedia and these other ones. I know on the airlines, like when I book Air Canada or through Star Alliance or whatever, it shows it at the end. Actually, even when you book with your airplane, you can see it. But
Never noticed. Never
side
paid
point
attention.
there.
My bad.
Yeah, and then everything you do while you're out there, and it's a simple. There's a lot of platforms online that allow you to do this, and Carbon Neutral is the one we use because they look at our offset and then put it into the right places. We don't have to worry about where it's going, and we can trust them to do that and focus on our core business, which is getting people amazing travel experiences. So, yeah, side note on sustainability, but I think
very important, especially today's day and age.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to mention when you said talk about traveling, and you don't always have to travel an hour to go to the nicest restaurant, or how people want to do different things. When you're traveling and you're going out, and there's so many times where let's say you read a website and the reviews, or how you mentioned TripAdvisor used to be the end all be all of traveling, online traveling. It's so different for each and every person. Like you said, moms and dads want to do one thing, kids want to do another. But when you read the TripAdvisor hotel, and I think we might have mentioned this too, but let's use a place like Oasis Cancun, right? If you're 18,
have you ever been? Have you ever been?
That was
it's like one of those like college trips, right?
No, high school grad trip.
Yeah, so we went first year, second year university.
Yeah,
Carson Daly MTV on the beach when we arrived in our parkas. It was
yeah, we were there. It was like girlicious.
It's foam party.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? If you're, let's say 40 years old and you go there, it's a 1-star resort. Like literally negative star.
If you're above 24, it's a 1-star resort.
But you're 18.
If you're
18, that's a solid 3.5, 4 stars. Like there's nowhere. Like literally, every time we went to Cancun, we could have went to a different resort, but we wanted to be there. You wanted to
why
do
the party's there. Yeah, it's not.
That's what I mean, right?
I was a 1-star the day I got there.
Yeah, but that trip you'd give a 5-star
sorry Oasis.
Trip. Yeah,
you serve some good functionality.
I don't even think they're around anymore. But the point I was getting at is that everybody views things differently, right? If you go to someone who doesn't like fish and goes to a seafood restaurant, good chance they're not going to love it.
And this is why we have such a care in getting to know our clients. So getting to understand that you're that 18-year-old that likes to go to Oasis gives us an insightful knowledge. And so when you become a member, or if you're doing a one-off trip with us, it's a full interview process where we go through 100 questions. But that's most of the time you're spending on this trip. An average weekend trip takes about 8 hours of planning. That's a weekend trip. Forget like a week or 2 weeks.
If you're efficient too.
Yeah, and that's not fishing like crazy. That's people looking at flights.
No, I say efficient. Like if I sat like 8 hours in front of my computer, but
absolutely.
You're like, for me, sorry to cut you off, I second guess everything. So like when I planned all my trips, I'm like, I'll sit and plan, and the next day I'll be like, I don't know if I really want that one. I want this, and like. So for me, like even for a weekend trip, I think it takes even more, and I think I'm pretty well versed in like planning trips, and like I'll spend way more time in that. Which yeah.
So for us, it's a matter of getting to know each person and understand what they want, understand how they do it, what's important to them,
like that.
And make sure that is the like. So that guides our entire trip planning process. Is to say that you like this, you like that. You've got these dietary restrictions versus you're a big golfer. So how to bring all of those things together and make even a honeymoon suit both people in that couple to the perfect feeling.
Yeah.
Or in a family holiday, like we said earlier, sometimes you have 3-4 generations. You gotta get everybody something that they're enjoying while making sure everybody has that time together. And it's a game of. We're very used to research that for us, and we've got so many industry connections, network all over the world. So we don't just base it on what we see online. Mm-hmm. We get in touch with somebody in the destination. We know how to harass employees at hotels. Sorry to say that, but
kind of harassing.
Yeah, you know the ins and outs.
I mean, when you book a room, you're booking a 1-bedroom suite at this hotel. They've got maybe 15 of those. Maybe 5 have the best view. And I need to know which one of those 5 is the right one for you. So you're still booking the same room at the same rate that you would get online through me, but we're ensuring that you're getting the best experience for that room.
Yeah.
And that's very important, is because it's deceptive out there. And there's so much information, there's so many things to look at, and it's getting the right thing for each person is a huge priority in this business. And that's kind of the driving key of personalization. Why we do this.
Well, even to that point, like, that's the hard part when you're planning a trip. We've all, like Ricky as well, like we've traveled a lot, especially together. We've done trips with buddies and friends, and it's honestly, as the trip grows and gets bigger as well. If you go like 4 buddies, it's typically pretty easy. You can get you get by with whatever. You don't typically have a lot of fuss, but planning a trip and trying to keep everyone happy when you're more than like 6, or when you have different, you have male and female, or when you have family involved and kids, like there are so many variables and like different dynamics that unless you really have the patience to sit and plan it properly, put it all together, which takes hours and hours. And I can tell you firsthand, like I planned, which we'll get into about the Japan trip I planned. it's very tough to do because you have to know, like, again, you have to know everyone's dietary restrictions. You have to know who likes what, who wants a beach view, who wants a garden view, who gets seasick easily so they can't go on boats, or who wants to go sightsee and walk all day, who can't walk because they got a bad hip. And there's so many things, and you have to remember, like, a lot of people, I think most, when you plan a trip, you kind of just try to do the best for the whole. But again, everyone's paying the same amount of money for that trip. Everyone has different tastes, different views. So I might think that trip was the best. And my father might say, well, that was the worst trip I've ever been on. So you made this point, I think, last time we spoke. When you go on a vacation, like, you want to go to relax. Like, yeah, you can do the work beforehand. But once you're there, the point, doesn't matter if you're in like a go city or you're on a countryside drinking wine. Like, the point is to do no work.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of people say, oh yeah, we've booked our flights, we've booked our hotel, we'll figure everything else when we get there. And
yeah, it doesn't work.
That's not that there's something to that for sure. That's one way to travel, but you might really be missing out on a lot. And you might be spending so many hours of relaxation time, of time in the culture, that you are now on your phone. You're checking Yelp or TripAdvisor or something else to find the right place to go next, or find the right person to get you to the right thing. And maybe he's taking you to the wrong place because he's getting a kickback from it or whatever it is.
Yeah,
so
that does happen though.
Oh, absolutely. That's primarily
Especially
lot of the world of concierge as well. When you go to your hotel concierge, he's not sending you to the best sushi restaurant.
He's sending a place that gives the biggest kickback. Yeah. Even in like Thailand, for example, I wanted to go suit shopping, and I knew that one of the tricks like these like little moped people had is that they'll drive you around for free and they'll take you to like 10 different places. And I wanted to do that experience. I'm like, it's kind of one of those like traveling experiences.
Absolutely.
So I get in, the guy's like, oh, where are you going? I'm like, I'm going like for a suit. I'm like, hey, you gonna take me like all your buddies' places too? He's like, yeah. I'm like, perfect. I went to this like jeweler, like at the minimum thing was like 10 grand. But I drank champagne and I walked through it in my swimming shorts and tank top. Clearly, no, I'm not buying anything. I got like $50 in my pocket. Go to the next place. I'm at like
never heard that
this
before.
high-end electronics store. Again, like, what do I need high-end electronics for? I have my cell phone.
Yeah.
They're trying to sell me this, and I'm eating chocolate bars there. Then you go to the suit shop, and again,
but see, that was a great cultural experience.
Yeah,
because you got to do all these unique things. But there's a lot of times where it's just not that.
Yeah.
Right.
And so a lot of times like, yo,
did you hear the last one? Sorry, at the end of the story. It wasn't like the guy you went to one store, but he wouldn't take you to another one after that, or
no. So then at the end, we ended up going to the suit store, and I bought my suit. It didn't really work out that well. It's just, I didn't like it that much, but still bought it anyways because I had to buy a suit because I was in Thailand. I was like, I got to get me a custom suit. But yeah, I ended up buying it, and that just the day. It was a full day experience, and I had an absolute, again, by myself. But one thing you mentioned that some people, again, there's two different types of travelers. One that, again, want to plan it all ahead of time and everything needs to be done like months and months in advance. And my brother's fiance, Virgie, I don't even know if she really listens.
Shout out to
Virgie. She's the type, like, she'll have her trip planned, and John's similar to this too now, like 6 to 8 months in advance.
John longer because I got John on the points game, and John books his flights probably 12 months in advance.
Yeah. So me, I'm
when
the opposite.
Like, when you're booking like like when you're booking up through Aeroplan, you want the good seats. Yeah.
Of course.
So he's like trolling it through Expert Flyer and all that stuff. And
so John's intense now, but
shout out John.
Yeah, shout out John. I'm the complete opposite. I'm a week before. I'm like, okay, I know I got my first flight. Where am I going next?
Yeah.
Like and I know I end up spending more money down the road because, again, when you book a week before, you're obviously paying more. But I like the option of knowing I can go wherever I want, because what if this DJ's playing at this place? And me and George have done it too, where we end up going to a random city last minute just because our friends were DJing in Copenhagen or whatever, right?
That's crazy.
And that's spontaneity. Like that's your style.
Yeah, that's me.
That's something you have to take into consideration right off the back and go, his itinerary is going to be much more open with a ton of suggestions.
Yeah.
Whereas your sister-in-law, that'll be much more specific.
Oh yeah.
That'll be like this. So we have a bit of both types of clients and people right in the middle. And one of my questions I ask is, are you the type of person to spend 2 hours in a museum or to have a cocktail at the bar outside the museum? Right. That's a good
question.
That's a good one.
Because
that is a good one.
For me, I love to see these things and experience them and see the culture and experience it. But I'm not one to spend hours inside. So I'll walk through, get a good feel for it, check out what's important in there, make sure I've like processed it well, and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
Whereas I went on a trip with a couple of buddies to Amsterdam, and one of the guys on the trip spent like 2.5 hours in the Van Gogh Museum, and the rest of us were outside already. I mean, it's an amazing museum. We did it in our time. He did it in his time. Had we known, we'd probably have taken the rental bikes and continued doing other stuff and come back to pick them up after.
Yeah,
but hey,
let me ask you. So just so again, so we can understand too, but also so everyone listening, because let's say I'm coming to you. We don't know each other. Obviously you know me. You know I like to run, but you don't know me. George walks in, says, "Hey, Jam, want to plan a trip?" What's the first, how does it start? So I'm a new client. I come into the Pelican Club. Walk us through it. What do you how does it work? What do you ask? So how do you get to know them?
It's simple. It depends on where you are in the world or what you're doing, is to get a first of either a face-to-face, a Zoom call, whatever it is, and have a long conversation. And that conversation just makes me understand if you're the type of client that we're going to be able to make an amazing experience for or not. And I'm not here to just do this for anybody and everybody if they're not looking for the right experience. Mm-hmm. And when we have that conversation, it's the right fit. It's like you're going for a job interview. You're not going there just to get the job. You're also going there to make sure that you're that's the right job for you. And the same way for us, we have this conversation that says at a certain point, we can make what you're looking for an unbelievable experience, or go ahead and book it on Expedia.
Yeah.
There's two different styles to it. So when you do come to us, we've decided this is the way to go forward. We then have that conversation. We understand what you're looking for, and we take about a week to get back to you next.
Wow.
The next week we get back to you, we're fully informed on everything from flight prices, the best hotels and the destinations you're looking at, some really cool, unique off-the-pitch adventures or experiences based on what we've discussed as your personality, to say, you know what, we're going to do this, it's nuts.
Yeah.
Or ask questions. Like we had a wedding couple recently where will you jump out of a plane? Will you skydive? Like stuff like that.
What's your limit on certain things?
Yeah. I mean, they're traveling.
Tell me when to stop.
Yeah. How high does it go?
Tell me what led you really to stop at. That was a good one.
That was a good one. It's like, okay, you're gonna jump off a platform. How are we going?
I just picture, it's like,
whoa, okay, this much.
The meme about women drinking wine. It's like, tell me when to stop, and it's a room filled with wine. It's like, tell me when. But
wait, is there in The Office where he's like, oh, I'm thinking, never mind. That's going to be a bad joke. But anyways, that was a good one, Rick.
Yeah, these guys are going to Fiji and then New Zealand. Unbelievable destination.
Sweet.
So they're doing a week of relaxation and then about 10 days of exploring an amazing part of the world. And in that time, it's okay, how crazy do we do? Private helicopter for sure. Do we do this? Do we do that? Is it how much are they comfortable in the water? How much are they comfortable hiking or adventure? And how much do they just want spa, relaxation, time together? Is a suite more important, or is it just the rooms to stay in and then just go out and explore? Mm-hmm. And when we come back to them with everything, it's very quickly with our conversation, we can gauge how to move forward next. You get your first proposal of your trip. You get to change it anytime, all the way until before you fly. Even during your trip, if there's something small you need to edit, something you want to change, you can't make it, the app that you have with our service allows you to message me anytime. One of our team will get back to you right away and adjust your car transfer, adjust your hotel stay, adjust your restaurant because you're an hour late because the drinks went on. Who cares?
Yeah.
It's your trip. It's not about this.
We planned this for you. You got to be there.
No, not at all. It's about making the experience seamless and enjoyable without you having to worry that you have to get here at this time and worry about that. And I make that very clear right at the start. If you have a friend that says to you, oh, you're going there to Bali, you should check out this thing. Well, let me know, and I'll tell you if that's actually legit or that friend's not giving you a good tip. Yeah. And if it is legit, we'll get it in the itinerary.
Let us know if we should head to Oasis Cancun.
Do not listen to Ricky.
It's like 18-year-old Ricky told me that. I definitely got to check it out.
Well, even to that point, you made a comment about, up until the point where you fly, you can change it. And I know we talked about this again. This is previously to this episode where you said, the flexibility is a big thing, right? And I know you talked about the thing that happened with COVID, and you guys had a lot of stuff planned that wrenches got thrown in your plan with the circumstances. And I know that flexibility is a big thing with you guys, and that's why when you told me about this, I was like, holy shit! I had no idea
absolutely.
This stuff. So you want to kind of walk through that part too? It's a big
just
part of it.
So many people out there have gone through nightmare experiences of canceling things, of changing things. And, we do that for you. So you don't have that nightmare. And we've gone through it with multiple suppliers and different hotels and different airlines and things. But the post-COVID world is going to allow us that amazing flexibility. It's pretty much going to say, you know what? Book, cancel 4 hours before. You get your credit to use later on. Hotels will be more understanding. Airlines will be more understanding. And I think it's something that should stay around because people want the ability to plan and do things. There's another extent where people are booking things and then just, there's the business side of it for the businesses that are losing out. But for the customer, it's huge to say, like, you know what, I can plan this right now, and Air Canada is offering unlimited credit if you cancel your flight. If you book before July 31st right now, you can cancel up to the day before, or one change for without any trouble, which is huge. And that's like saying, okay, you know what, and the prices are about 10 to 12% cheaper on airfare right now. They've cut down the number of flights, so it's still not as discounted as you'd think it would be because people aren't flying, but it's worth booking. And my wife and I, we've booked 4 different trips in the next year that are already in place.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're going, right? And I mean, with the flexibility, it makes sense, but
yeah,
Brazil 2021, baby.
Carnival, we're gonna get into that.
Oh yeah.
But even to the point too, when I remember you saying it as well, when people book through the Pelican Club, like you had to cancel quite a few trips during COVID, and you said that like when they book through you, like just as a side note, like I had a trip planned in September, going to we're probably all gonna go, and with my flight, fortunately, I booked through Aeroplan, so the cancellation is typically pretty easy. But I know I had some hotels I had to cancel, some excursions I had lined up, and how'd I book them? I'd be on the phone, like it's a 3-week trip I had planned. I'd be on the phone nonstop. And for me, one of the biggest things when I travel, actually, to go back to the point of what do I consider luxury? Luxury for me is to pick up one phone and say, hey, I need to cancel all these things. Can that get done? Not, hey, bank, hey, credit card, hey, this, hey, that.
So there we go.
More than one call to me.
Kind of gone full circle back to what I said at the start. Is luxury is that ability to go, you know what, Jam, deal with this. I can't be bothered. And that's what we do anyway. Yeah. Is we deal with it for you. You've booked it through us. We're going to handle everything start to finish. Some people have said, you know what, let's do our trip next year at this time. Everything's rearranged or changed and moved forward, brand new itineraries, brand new experiences. Or others have said, you know what, we're not sure what's going to happen. Let's cancel it fully. And 100% refund, including whatever small fees we charge as well. Because for us, it's very important that you have your trip and experience it, regardless of what legwork's gone into it. And that's huge right now, is the ability to say, you know what, just deal with it for me is big.
One interesting thing you said earlier too is that during the interview process, you say that it's got to be a fit for you, right? You're not just going to take on a client that might be a better suited for an Expedia trip. And I find that in today's society, like that type of service is becoming so important that we had Kelsey Rose, she's a personal trainer, and she takes on a lot of sponsorships. And she's lactose intolerant, and she had a potential sponsor from milk, and she had to say no for obvious reasons, right?
Of course.
So it's so tough to turn away money, to turn away business, but it's so important for a company or a person that the fit is right on both ends, because then if let's say you take on a client that's not right for your business and they go and they're not happy, that's going to reflect on your business, even though it's not really your fault.
And are you really going to enjoy planning that for them? Because what we do is something we really love to do.
Yeah.
So, and I know, obviously you're turning away revenue, but at the same time, you have to be true to what your brand stands for. And again, going back, you'd asked me earlier why the Pelican Club. And the Pelican, interestingly enough, the totem for a pelican as a bird is resourcefulness. And I think that's something that stems right through to what we do, is to be as resourceful as possible to get stuff done.
I like it. That
and
good. I
that's
like that.
kind of where it comes from, to say, find that resource.
That was good. I like that.
Ricky just made a note so he can put that as our clip on social media because he likes it when it's something that
but
hits
it's true, because you know what? When you think, and I usually ask people, it's like, why'd you choose that name?
Yeah.
And bingo, right there.
But not just that, that's to a point. Like, Ricky brought the point up of like, it's easy to take money in. I mean, someone might come to you and say, I want to plan a whether it's 5K, 10K, 20K trip, 30K, whatever. But at the end of the day, I'm sure you did what you do and created the Pelican Club because you love what you do. You didn't do it to, I'm sure you don't think you work every day. Planning these trips probably excites you because you're like, holy, I didn't know this and I can do this for my next trip. But no amount of, maybe not no amount of money, that's an exaggeration. But if someone comes and says, plan this for me, but they're, tweaking everything and they want to do stuff that you're not really into, like it is important to have the fit, right? Because then if you're trying to plan for someone that you can't mesh with and they're going to be a little difficult.
But there's a level to that. I'm in the hospitality industry for 20 years now, and and that level is, you understand that guests have expectations. Okay. So I know there's going to be picky guests and chill guests and all the way in between. I mean, it's interesting. We worked at the Four Seasons for a long time. There's a stigma with guests from certain countries where right off the back that they're a little bit more entitled, or they want certain things.
Give it to us.
Oh, I mean,
Is it in my book? Can I find it in my book? The stuck-up countries.
just
I mean, we
give us a
know.
couple.
Listen, we know we've traveled enough that we know the countries that you meet that like have a bit of a preconceived
I don't know, man.
notion.
I
Well,
can't
the
say I hate
trickiest
French,
ones,
but
I'll give
I
it to
dislike
you.
The French.
the trickiest ones for
Whoa.
me are Americans and Brits.
Okay.
Yeah.
Arabic guests are easier because you already understand the expectation, whereas with
The expectation.
it's very high.
Yeah.
Tell us when to stop.
Yeah.
They're
Whereas like here, it's like
They're also
here.
fully willing to pay for that level of expectation.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas you get clients that are not understanding the costs behind things and asking you to do them for them anyway. I mean, that's just the industry.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's restaurants or hotels or travel, you're dealing with people, and that's part of it. But yeah, I always say, and this my wife calls this controversial, but for me, travel is the antidote to ignorance.
Okay.
In that you get out
40-minute mark. Okay, good note. I like that one.
It's a bit rough, but I guess for me, it's very important for people to see the world right. And you've done some amazing trips, and on those trips, seeing things and being places and understanding the culture. And I don't have the tolerance for people who would go somewhere, not appreciate the food, the culture, the religion. You're better off staying at home.
Yeah.
And there are cruise ships that host 10,000 people on them and go to a destination and all go onto the beach and put their Coke cans and garbage cans that can't handle the environment. That's not holidaying for me. That's getting time away or escaping from where you currently live, and not properly seeing and experiencing a place. Like going to Mexico City, unbelievable food, unbelievable history, unbelievable architecture.
And Americans are still eating McDonald's.
But you don't always have to go to Cancun and to Oasis, right?
Well, actually, to that point, you were told. You mentioned you went recently to Mexico City.
Yeah, actually, that was the last trip just before COVID. My wife and I got away without the kid for the first time, and we did.
Wait. Before we go any farther, I know a stat that I want to. You want to hear something crazy? I know Rick doesn't know this.
Hit us with it.
So
Don't butcher it, though.
Okay, so his son
Oh yeah.
is 18 months. Magnus.
Well, before COVID, he was
badass
like
name.
17 months.
I knew
Yeah.
his sickest name.
A badass name.
Gang. He's gonna be just like grow up like Thor, like my big beauty. Sorry. So he's
It's half
18 months.
Swedish, yeah.
Yeah, 18 months.
Yeah.
How many flights do you think he's been on in his life? 18 months. That's a year and a half.
Yeah, if my dad was in travel too. Well, I don't know. I don't remember the first time I got on a plane, but I'm going to say 18 months. Let's say every 4 months. I'm going to say... No, I'm way low.
You said every 4 months.
So let me say I'm going to go 16.
He's been on 27 flights in 18 months.
That's insane.
How crazy
Yeah,
is that?
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I thought I flew a lot.
Yeah, I was
like,
just gonna say,
I'm 30 now.
He's been to 5 Greek islands. He's been all over the Caribbean. He's been in Europe from
This little
Sweden,
kid's
London,
kid's like
South
knapsacks
France.
just covered in like.
Also, fun fact for those out there: if you got a kid, he's still under 2. Isn't under 2? You get the kid flies
Under 2 on
flies
lap
for free
infant,
on lap.
yeah.
So when you have a kid, man, you gotta take advantage of that. Kid flies for free until they're 2 years old.
But sorry, let me ask your son Magnus, because that's a badass name. How is he with flying?
Oh, it changes as he grows. Like he's been great. I mean, when you travel that much, you expect a few flights to be crazy, and he's had one ridiculous
Is that what
incident.
you told me?
Yeah.
Oh my
Is
god.
that
Tell us the story. Tell us the
Is it
story.
appropriate for air?
Yeah, I think.
Is this fine? Or
Yeah. It's the one
okay.
where.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
This is
let him tell
funny,
it.
man. This is like.
So-
Well, I'm not funny if you're there, but.
We're flying. It's the start of our trip. We've got multiple stops. We're flying Toronto, London, and the flight's about to
Sorry,
take
how old
off.
is he at this point?
He is.
How old is
maybe-
King Magnus?
He's just over a year, like 13 months or so.
Okay. King Magnus.
Yeah.
13 months.
Sick.
We're heading to London, and he's in this bucket seat beside us. We got an extra seat in the flight that just happened to be empty. Put him in there in his car seat. So he's facing backwards. Plane starts to take off down the runway super fast, and all of a sudden he just starts to exorcist projectile vomit. As the
King
plane-
Magnus.
It's funny.
as the plane takes off, it hits the couple sitting behind us, and there's nothing we can do. The seatbelt sign's on. We're like holding a sheet up, trying to block this thing. His car seat is covered as like a pool, and the smell is just ridiculous.
King Magnus.
Wow. And then we had
Not
to
his best
wait.
day.
They finally put the seatbelt sign off, and it was like the craziest cleanup job known to man. And apologies to the people behind us. And I think we were scared as to how crazy that was, but he was fine. I mean, the rest of the flight was okay. He did about 3 or 4 more on that trip and was just great. But
Yeah.
this stuff happens, and especially when you have kids. It's so unpredictable. Like, there was one point at the island of Milos where my wife lost it because there's a beach that you had to get to, and the only way to get to that beach was to backward climb down a rock with a rope. So to get to that beach, you had to do this, and I've got the car bucket seat in one hand, and I'm lowering myself down this rock.
Man, King Magnus,
we
you
are
should have let
terrible
him,
parents.
he would have climbed down himself, man.
I feel like child services is going to come talk to me.
No, we're good. We're good.
Jumping, that's crazy, eh?
27 flights though, front.
Yeah, it's
Shoot.
a lot.
I said frick. I'm okay there.
But jumping back too, so Mexico City, first son without King Magnus.
King
Yeah.
Magnus.
So how was that? Like, you were telling me some stories about it, but like, and it's been high on my list for a long time.
It's an unbelievable place, and I was actually surprised as to the amazing adventures and things. There's so much history, and the best way to experience it is the National Gallery in Mexico City has Diego Rivera mural, and if you get somebody to explain the whole mural to you, it is the entire history of Mexico moving through the years, and it is unbelievable. The place, the amazing cuisine, the 2 best restaurants we went to, which was both Quintanil and Puyol, which are their Michelin starred restaurants, like a taco omakase tasting menu.
Yeah.
Absolutely blows your mind away. And then mezcal bars that are hidden in streets that only locals go to. So we were doing this trip as if it was our kind of adventure as well. So we did one day as of a tour on e-bikes. So we had this guide, and we took e-bikes all over Mexico City. Fantastic experience, because you literally see it in a really fun way. Stop wherever you want, grab a couple churros, hit a museum, or check out a cool park, or just rip it on the bike. It's a lot of fun. And it was a great time. I mean, I would recommend it to anybody.
But the important thing too is, like, even going back, when you're looking for that kind of stuff, you're going to go on TripAdvisor. There's probably something up there that's been ranked high because it's been high forever, and it's hard, once something is 1,000 or 1,000,000 votes and it's number 1, like, it's hard to change that. Or, if a lot of people say I like this, but it's been dated and it's sold, or the business has changed hands, like, experiences change all the time too. And, like, understanding that and knowing how to really, like, know what you're getting yourself into is very tough.
And I'll give you a perfect example of that. I've worked with Four Seasons for a long time, so I decided not to stay there in Mexico City, and the number 2 hotel in Mexico City is the St. Regis. We stayed there for 2 nights, and then 2 nights at an amazing boutique hotel. And I already gave that away by saying amazing boutique hotel, but the St. Regis experience was very soulless and not a Mexican experience. Whereas this other one, you walk in, the first thing he does is pour you like an aged tequila at the reception desk, chat with you, beautiful rooftop bar. It was just the right experience for us. So it's good to see those different types of things and understand that, on TripAdvisor, on a lot of sites, the St. Regis, but it wasn't the right thing for us. Whereas this other one was amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, how many countries have you been to? Sorry, first give us King Magnus. How many has he been to?
Oh man, I haven't counted
5
that.
Greek islands.
He's been all over
Probably the
Greece.
States, I'm
He's been
assuming.
Greece,
a
UK,
lot of
Sweden.
countries in Europe. UK, Sweden, France, Italy, Spain.
Man, King
He's
Magnus
definitely
kills
been
it.
in the Caribbean to Barbados, the Grenadines Islands. He's been on a couple yacht trips.
Damn, man, this kid's balling already.
He might
I love it.
he might hit every country in the world at some point.
That's crazy. What about yourself?
Another quote there, just for you guys, is what is it again?
It's okay if you butcher it. I butcher them all.
Ricky messes quotes up on a regular
I
basis.
might even steal yours and butcher it after.
Have you been everywhere? It's on my list.
I like
Kind of
that.
thing. It's
That is
like-
a good one. That is a good one.
Funny enough you mentioned that. A friend of mine from Western is the youngest Canadian to visit all 100 and I guess 90.
Who are we shouting out to?
Michael Graziano.
Michael.
It's called
He got the Global Degree.
Global Degree.
So he started this back in 2014. So he wanted to travel to every country. Again, loved traveling, and he again does it all. So he started this. He started selling like light up T-shirts, almost so ones that had like little battery packs that would light up, and they were basically for raves and stuff. So he sold those to kind of start funding his trip, and he would do it in stages. So he started something called the Global Degree, and it became massive on Instagram. I think he's got, I don't know, maybe a couple 100,000 followers on Instagram, and he just completed it back in, I want to say January. So we met up at a bar. He was in Toronto, so we all met up at a bar. He had like a little party for it. Yeah, so I think there's 190 nations.
200.
210, 207.
13 or 14 or something like that.
Regardless, an insane amount. He's been to them all.
Exactly right now.
That's crazy. That's an adventure. For
Yeah,
sure.
so and he's got like insane pictures. So he was featured in Forbes, like all these amazing websites, and they all reviewed him. So he created some amazing partnerships and did some great brand deals too to help it out. But I like, again, on yourself, how many countries do you think you've been to?
Oh, that's a tough one. I have not counted it, and that's a good point because I need to. But all over Asia, I've lived in 7 for at least a year or more. This is.
Can you speak other languages?
Actually not. No.
Ah,
I'm terrible with languages. That's my like biggest weakness.
You were
my
born.
wife,
Hold on. You were born in India. Your background is
born in India. My background's Persian. I studied in Toronto as a child. University in Switzerland. Worked in the UK. Opened a resort, a beach bar and restaurant in the Caribbean islands in the Grenadines.
what we're shouting out. What's the name?
Jack's Beach Bar, Beckley
Jack's
Beach
Beach
Hotel.
Bar.
Shout out.
Hey, if we go there, drinks
100%.
On the house.
Drinks on
100%.
Jam on the house, baby.
Drinks on Jam.
They have an overproof rum there that it's stupidly ridiculous. I think it's
and all this travel talk. You just want to drink and go out,
Make
travel.
you go blind, eh?
yeah, you can go blind with that for sure.
Heck yeah.
When did you open? I know you sent it. And I was reading over. When did you open that?
That
2018?
was 2017.
2017.
There was an existing property there. It's the only thing on this beach. It's locals call it Tony Gibbons Beach, which is after a fisherman that used to live on this beach. And then Princess Margaret had her honeymoon in Mystique, which is the island across the way. And she came in a sailboat and apparently skinny dipped on this beach. And it's been renamed Princess Margaret Beach.
Heck yeah,
as a
Princess
result of that.
Margaret. Take it
It's
off.
a wild one for sure.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, so there's nothing else on this beach. It's beautifully calm, peaceful, and just the bar. And to get there, you either got to get on a boat or take
Or get naked.
Yeah, get naked. Yeah, and the next door island, Mystique, is actually a very interesting place on this planet. It's a island that was bought by a British colonial guy, and he originally wanted to turn it into a sugar plantation, and ended up being one of the biggest celebrity hotspots. So it's a privately owned island.
Is it its own country?
No,
No,
it's
okay.
part of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Okay.
But the island itself is run by a management company, and they have villas for, like Tommy Hilfiger, John Bon Jovi, the royal family's been in a lot of, like, Will and Kate's honeymoon was out there.
Wow.
And the honeymoon I sent you a link of, they were going to go experience a bit of that.
Well,
Was that coming up, that itinerary?
It was during COVID.
Yeah.
It has been pushed. But yeah, I mean,
well, tell
And
us
I will
about
say, well, just sorry to say, like, that itinerary you sent me. So, I mean, I know, obviously, I've seen the branding, I've seen the website, all that stuff. So I didn't expect anything less. But when I saw the itinerary, I was like, holy shit! Like, so people understand, again, to jump back to the Pelican Club, and even to preface this too, like, one thing we've talked about, like, maybe like a misnomer here is that, like, when we talk, we're talking about luxury and high-end stuff, but I mean, you guys cater to, like, it's everything, right? I mean, like we said, it's not like you're going and planning a trip that every vacation is going to cost you 10, 15, 20, 30,000. It's not like you're planning this for people with crazy deep pockets. I mean, you can cater trips differently, right? And
I think I want to touch on that
Go
for
ahead.
a second, because if you can do a trip for a couple grand, it's fine.
yeah.
It's just doing it right. And we've done trips for 8-10K that are big, long trips, and we've done trips that are 100K. And they're very different, but they're both very amazing experiences. And it's not about, nothing that we do is about spending a crazy amount of money. It's about spending that money correctly, right? And understanding, how to take that budget and run with it all the way. And I never push people past their budget. Because that for me is an area where, you've said what you want to spend. Let's just give you the craziest experience within that value.
play within it, yeah.
But also understand that if you're going that low, then what's associated with that, right?
You mentioned that and kind of playing within your budget. And you said this earlier, some people care more about rooms, some people care more about activities. When I was traveling in Europe last summer, this is when I left after George's brother's wedding. So we traveled, we went to Mykonos after, and then me and my girlfriend at the time, we went to Croatia, and she wanted to do Dubrovnik, so we went to Dubrovnik. And we're the type of people that we don't care about the room we stay in. So we said we got X amount of dollars. How can we have the best trip with staying within this budget? So we literally said, okay, in Dubrovnik, we need to be in the castle. So you know what? We're not going to be in the room much at all. We're going to be in there to sleep and shower. So let's get a room inside the castle that is literally one of the cheapest that is still relatively like nice and safe.
Yeah.
Our room, I think, was 200 square feet. I don't even think it was 200 square feet. Like, I'm not kidding. It was a room with a bed, enough walking space to get to the bathroom, a bathroom that was the size of, honestly, like George's
gumball machine there?
Literally like George's like countertop. And we made it work. And we were in there basically non-sleeping. I don't even think we really got ready there much. It was kind of like, hey, babe, put your hair up. Like, we're on to the next, because we'd rather spend the money at Booza Bar or at Revlin or like one of these crazy experiences.
That's where we differ too with our trips.
Yeah,
I like the whole experience. I like nice accommodation. I'll sacrifice maybe one, like an excursion or going to see something, but I want like nice accommodation. I feel like that's really like unwind and relax.
Yeah.
But anyways, I
And
digress.
for me, accommodation, my general rule is resort or relaxation experience, high accommodation.
Yeah.
City exploration, adventure, where you're not in the room as much. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Yeah,
and
exactly how I
that's
look at it.
actually the Ace Hotel model, which I think is a brilliant city hotel concept, which is you literally have, for a decent price, everything you need to have in a city, because most of the time you need to be out there anyway.
You want to be exploring. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, me and George, we've done enough vacations to have a perfect middle ground.
Yeah.
So like for me, I'm the type, I won't waste a single day on a trip. Like no matter how hungover I am, no matter how deathly tired and sick I am, I'm still going out.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I need accommodations.
Yeah,
I'm
so
out
George,
cold most
so me and
some
George,
days.
like George knows I'm not staying at like 5-star like top of line hotels, because I'd rather just not pay that additional money. Whereas if it's up to me, I'm staying at a 3.5, 4, where George is a 5. We'll meet at a 4 or 4.5.
Hold on. Like, I feel like people are gonna listen to this and be like, "Oh, this guy's an asshole staying at
No,
hostels."
no.
I stayed in hostels in India with like cockroaches on the floor and
No,
shit. Like,
no.
I'm not some prima donna, but I do like.
Yeah.
I like the nice whole experience, because also like to me when I go on vacations, I guess, just sorry to cut you off, Ricky, but like for me, part of it, and some people might think this is a waste, but I know when I was traveling a lot, like even when I have a short trip, a long trip, like for me, if I stay at a nice hotel, city again is different. But if I'm at like in a warm climate place, part of the experience, I usually will take a day, do nothing but not leave the hotel. Like stay in bed half the day, go down and check out the pool, sit in the lobby, have a drink. Like I will experience the resort. I just find I've always, since I was young, for me, hotels and actual airlines, like the actual experience of getting somewhere and staying somewhere, to me is like a big chunk of it. So
yeah,
I've experienced a lot of hotels, a lot of hostels, a lot of Airbnbs. I really like that, to experience all that.
There's two things I always do or appreciate at hotels. One, for me, it's huge. I don't know why, but it's turn down service.
Yep.
Having a good turn down service is such a luxury that you come back to your room. Like, this doesn't happen at home. Yeah, you make your bed.
Yeah.
But everything's tight, everything's neat, everything's put away, and you're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This
They
is
cleaned it
fresh.
again? Like,
This
what
is
the hell?
nice.
This is amazing.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
And the second thing, and this I used to judge hotels based on this, is at some stage during a stay, I'd have a club sandwich. Staple at every hotel.
Yeah.
And a lot of
That's like a beach
hotels,
go-to.
That's a
Well, yeah.
classic.
a lot of hotels butcher it.
Yeah.
Like absolutely, like you need to be
One
it needs to-
slice it, like you have a little slice of turkey or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
It's like mail's like dripping out disgustingly.
I actually did a write up on club sandwiches around the world and the fact of what I think is the best club sandwich and why, because it's such a thing when you go to travel that you have this. Every hotel seems to have it on their menu.
It's like a thing that grounds you almost. It's
Yeah,
like,
you're like, yeah.
Okay, so it's funny. I want to ask a question. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I'm not the only reviewer around here, man. We got another reviewer
This
here.
guy, listen, you want to talk hotels? Like, I mean, I've traveled a lot, but if you want to know anything about anything, he's the guy to ask.
No, but what I was even saying before, sorry.
Can I just ask before you go on that? Where is the best club sandwich? Or your favorite you had?
The favorite I've had,
Big shout out coming here.
yeah, it's and this is
Imagine we
this
just
is
bleep it
also
out.
this is also a bit it's also a bit of a shout out, I guess. Yeah, for sure. Is the
Heck
Claridge's
yeah.
Hotel in London?
Sorry, which one?
Claridge's in London.
Claridge's?
Yeah.
Where's Claridge's?
So in London, there's tons of hotels.
Yeah.
Claridge's, the Connaught, and the Berkeley are some of the most beautiful properties, and they're part of one group. And the Claridge's, for me, they've got this unbelievable afternoon tea. It's just presented beautifully. It feels luxurious, but still has that taste of a club sandwich that you want. It's refined. Everything stays within the bread.
Yeah.
That's a big
That's
thing,
interesting.
eh?
I never would have thought to have a club. I mean, I eat it pretty often, like when I travel. But see, I have the same kind of thing, but I have a Negroni everywhere I go.
Yeah,
That's like my state. Mind you, I drink more. I felt like when I was traveling, I started having them, and I was like, I started having one at every hotel bar that I went to. I would sit down the first night there and just like have the bartender. I'd sit at the bar by myself or with friends, whatever, and have him make me a Negroni.
It's a great drink. It's hard to be very creative with a Negroni. There's a
is.
lot of little things you can change in terms of what ingredients you use, but it's 3 spirits in equal parts.
It is, yeah. And I think that again, you can't it's hard to mess up.
Yes.
I think part of it's the experience too. Like I look at like the bar setting, the environment, kind of the mindset and everything like that. But yeah, there's mind you, I can't remember all the ones I had, but there's been some good ones.
Amazing. What's your go-to drink?
Vodka
Double
7.
vodka 7.
Double vodka 7.
That just should tell you about his travel experience. The most plain
no, you know
guy.
what?
Double vodka 7 at the pool bar at the Oasis in Cancun.
Yeah, imagine. You can't,
Double vodka 7.
Those are
double
tequila
vodka
beers.
7 at Ushuaia Pool.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
That's
See,
your go-to.
I'm the opposite of that, whereas I want to be in the hotel or like as little as possible. When I'm traveling, I want to sleep as little as possible. I want to just get up and go. Like there's, and again, like this is what I was saying before. Me and George have a good balance because I know we just partied for 3 days in a row. George is not making it out of bed on that 4th day. I'm not even gonna talk. George, I'm outie. Here's where I'm going. If you need me, call me or meet me there later. 95% of the time, I know he's not making it. The odd time, yeah, he'll roll out, meet me there. But it's good because I don't need to go with someone. He's similar to that too. He doesn't need anybody
Which
to go
is
with.
great. You guys
I'll
have
just
got
get up
that-
and go.
that-
And when we went to Dubrovnik 3 years ago, when I met him on his year-long trip, we were in Dubrovnik, and again, I absolutely love it. So we went to Buza Bar.
I actually really like to bro.
Yeah, and Buza Bar is my favorite bar in the world. It's the bar on the outside of the walls on the cliff.
So sick.
There's no bathrooms. There's no ice. There's no. You can't. You know.
bathroom? I don't
There's
know.
no bathroom there. Well, there is. It's like
In the
a
water.
wall. Yeah, like there's no like real toilets. They literally have to bring in the ice. There's no. I don't even think there's an ice machine. You can't get like special drinks. It's just
It's like a fake bar. Like a
ciders,
makeshift bar.
ciders and beers, and that's it. And like peanuts and bags of chips. So we were there. We had a great spot for the sunset. So we went cliff diving. George messed up his ear.
Blew my eardrum.
Yeah. So
Amazing.
that night
he
he
went off like a
40, 50 foot cliff, yeah.
3 times I did it. Twice I went, and then the 3rd time I saw these guys going, and they were like waffling, and I was like, "You chickens!" I was a little bit. At this point, I had a few more drinks in the first 2 times, and I was like, "Come on, guys, stop being wimps." They're like, "You won't go," and I was like, "All right." And I just
Heck
jumped
yeah.
and fucking blew
Gainer.
I blew my eardrum.
No.
Yeah, I blew it out. Anyways,
So,
I survived.
That night, George is like, I don't know if I'm gonna go up. I'm like,
But I had a blown eardrum.
this is our last night out. Revelin, it was a club I've
like
never
I
been
had
to.
water like leaking out of my ear, like just like it was like it was messed up.
It's I'm not sure if you've ever been. Revelin's the nightclub inside the castle.
Yeah.
Never been, and I was like, okay, I gotta go. So George didn't want to come, so I'm like, okay, I got like $200, 200 euros left. So in Croatia they take kunas, they also accept euros, but it's a kuna country, right? So I get there and I can't remember the exact exchange, but I'd pay in my drinks with euros. It's like €6. Okay, I'll give it 10. Then they give me the change in kunas. But I didn't realize that they were rinsing me every time they did the exchange. It's like, imagine paying like one American to one Canadian. It was something like
and getting
that.
your change back the same.
Yeah,
but
the same.
Canadian.
And I'm getting
Yeah.
rinsed. So eventually I go through my $200 and I'm like, man, this like whatever kind of sucks. I'm gonna just spend $200. And I was like, that's my cue to go home, right? I got no money left. What am I gonna do? Somehow made friends with these people from Punta Cana, Mexico somewhere probably. I think they were a bunch of doctors, and I just kind of hitched it with them.
were you
They're like,
telling
yeah, you're
Oasis
Canadian.
stories?
We like Canadians. Blah, blah, blah. So I ended up chilling with them all night. I got home, and George was like, man, where'd you go? I was like, I had the craziest night.
Hilarious.
You had some good stories, yeah, but yeah.
I wanted to ask, what's the craziest trip you've planned for somebody? Or maybe not craziest. What's the one that really stands out the most to you?
I'm going to just tell you about one of my trips that
Ooh, I like
stands
it.
out because, traveling is kind of the opening to storytelling. And when you go into group settings, you're chatting with friends, family, whatever it is, somehow when you're talking, you end up talking about an experience on a holiday. And that's what's so beautiful about traveling. This trip, we were a group of maybe 8 or 10 of us, and we had the privilege of being on one friend's yacht in the Mediterranean. Already,
We need more friends with yachts.
Yeah,
eh,
I know. We
Georgie?
don't have enough friends with
Come
yachts.
on.
already an exceptional experience, and we're doing the Aeolian Islands down by Sicily, and unbelievable, going from one island to the next, swimming, enjoying ourselves. We woke up one morning hungover, had a bunch of mimosas, started lunch with beers, drinking again.
I knew that was coming.
Heck yeah, mimosas.
Yeah. And then one of the guys, he goes, "Oh, we're at this island called we're at Stromboli, and Stromboli's an active volcano." And after lunch, he goes, "Guys, we got to climb this volcano this afternoon." And everybody in the boat was like, "Yeah, right. This is not going to happen. This is ridiculous." 2 hours later, we're standing at the bottom of this volcano with this Sherpa guide. He's looking at all of us. He's like, "You guys have extra T-shirts, headlamps, backpacks?" We're like, "No." So we went and bought everything from the local store.
So you ended up buying like Patriots Super Bowl T-shirts or something.
Exactly, pretty much souvenir gear.
Yeah.
And do this massive hike, get up there, and literally it was like a moment in life where you see something you never expected, and it's a volcano fully erupting. You're watching the lava as it's coming out, and like one of the members of our group just burst out into tears. She was overwhelmed by the whole thing. Another person had to turn around halfway, but he managed to find some weed on the way down, so that was helpful for the remainder of the trip. But
it was an act. Like you could literally see the lava.
It's an active volcano, Stromboli, in the islands there, and it's about a 3-hour hike up, and the way down is literally skiing down through lava sand. So it's just this like black ash.
Oh,
yeah,
that's sick.
And you can't see anything but this headlamp. They're like, focus on the person in front of you, and everybody just slide your legs.
Night or just the smoke?
Oh
and
yeah,
everything?
because you do the sunset at the top, which is insane.
You're coming down at night.
At night.
Jesus Christ.
Get to the bottom, go to a little pizzeria, grab pizzas, get back on the boat. Chefs had a whole meal prepared for us as well. Didn't realize that.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
Going from a volcano, like a little bit rough, and then onto a yacht, like, okay, I'll survive.
It was one of those, like, there's so many things that happened on that trip, but that moment for the 10 of us that were on that trip will be a lasting memory.
George, what's your again? That's insane. George, what's your favorite travel memory or moment?
This is very hard because there's one story that I typically have told everybody, but I'm not gonna say it right now because it's a bit long, but it's also not my favorite. I don't think there's a few. I said one. Yeah, I think it was with Dimitri yesterday. I talked about like the first time I figured out I was content.
You told that one.
So I'm not gonna repeat that one, but that was in Hanoi, in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. One of my favorites. Actually, you know what? This is one of my favorites. I was we were in Spain. I was with a girlfriend of mine, and we were doing like the Costa del Sol. So we actually shout out to Kia because we met Kia. Wait, what?
I was gonna say shout out Nat.
Shout out Nat. Yeah.
Come on.
Shout out Nat.
Shout out Nat. Yeah. Shout out.
So Nat. So we were in.
John, you got to point at the camera when we do the shout out.
Shout out Nat.
Nat. We were in Spain. This is 2017 summer. This is near the start of my trip. We were with a bunch of friends. We did Spain early September. We were in Mallorca with like Rick and our buddy Dave and some friends. And then I was going to continue on, go to Barcelona. From Barcelona, go down, hit up Sevilla, go across. But anyways, our friend Nat's like, "Hey, I got time off from work. Can I come drive with you?" I was like, "Yeah, of course. Like, no problem." So we spent time in Barcelona, favorite city ever. Anyways, we go from we miss our flight to Sevilla. We went to Kia came in, a good buddy of ours, made me change my flight to stay to watch the Barcelona Juventus game.
Oh, tough
that's
life.
fantastic.
Barcelona Juventus Champions League game, which is
Tough
crazy.
life.
I'm a massive Arsenal supporter. I have to say that right now.
Okay.
I want to go see the Gunners play.
I used to work at a property in the UK where the Gunners would stay prior to every single game.
Oh, wow.
So me and Wenger were on good terms. I may have also dealt with a certain scandal with a certain player. Olivier Giroud plays for Chelsea now.
Okay.
But yeah,
You got some dirt on these guys.
absolutely. It's
it was. That's one thing I want to see. I haven't seen a game in the UK yet, but I have seen. I saw the game in Spain. Anyways, this is gonna fast forward this, but I missed my flight, so we had to, and we were hungover. Had to like hoof it to the train station in the morning. Like we woke up at 9. Our flight was at 9:10. We're like, yeah, we're not making it. So we take a train down to Sevilla, and then from Sevilla, we rented a car, and we did the whole Costa del Sol. So we did Sevilla. We actually were planning to drive straight to Marbella, but we stopped in Bonita, Torremolinos. There's a bunch of places on the way. We just kept looking up Google Maps, pulling off the side streets, and hit some of the best beaches I've ever seen. Just like pulled off, spent the day there, got back in the car, hit the next city. Went to Marbella, went to Malaga. But then the last stop was the best. And this is one of my favorite parts of the trip. And I really like it. Your sunset story kind of reminded me of it. We were going to go to Granada to go to Alhambra, which is the old Moorish fortress there. And it's like one of the UNESCO World Heritage Sites. I thought that was the only thing in Granada. I'm like, okay, we're going to drive to this place, see the fortress, and then get out of there. So Nat and I drive in. We get there early in the morning. We get to the gates of Alhambra, and we're like, 2 tickets, please. They're like, what do you mean 2 tickets? They're like, this thing sells out like 4 days in advance. Do you buy tickets? We're like, no. Can we not just get tickets here? They're like, no. You got to buy it's like 4 days from now you can come. So we're like, oh, this sucks. So Nat's like, why don't we just drive around the city? We're here now. So we drive around, and Granada, for those who've never been, it's got a very almost like a Moroccan, Middle Eastern feel. And so we drove around like, this is sick. Let's just stay for a night. We stayed at some hostel with like a bunch of hippies. It was honestly just people very chill. Like I can be chill, but not my vibe at that point.
It's a bit of a Spanish vibe.
Yeah, very laid back. So anyways, we stayed. Also, fun fact about Granada, it's where tapas was invented, tapa. And also, if you order tapa in Granada, you get a free drink. So you order drink, you get free food.
Free tapa.
So
that's
I had my drinks, got the free food
that's
there.
a lot of the south of Spain, and even in the south of Italy as well. It's a similar situation.
Yeah.
Where you have a little bite with your cocktail.
Yeah, so it was like you order drinks and you just sit. So anyway, some of the coolest restaurants we had been to, great vibe. But the moment that stood out to me was that night we met these friends at the hostel. They're like, we're gonna go hike up to go see where the not gypsies is a term for them, but they live in the caves next to Alhambra. So there's like a mountain, San Antonio, and there's like caves. They actually live in these caves. Crazy, almost like hippie gypsy type people. We go up. All these people start inviting us into their place. Like you want a meal, you want drinks, very welcoming. And we're all just sitting there. People I just met at our hostel. Now with these gypsies that I thought I was gonna get kidnapped. I didn't know what was going on. And we're just sitting outside, having coffee, having wine, and just sitting on their makeshift balconies, watching the sunset. And the sun setting in front of us in the Sierra Nevada desert. To the left is Alhambra. And I was like, holy shit, this is real life. And I didn't pay a dime to do this. We stayed in a hostel that probably paid $20 that night. And we're just sitting on a mountain drinking free wine from gypsies that who knows where they made it. To me, that was one of the best experiences. Shout out Nat. She honestly, a great travel partner. Yeah, that's a bit of a long story, but that was one of my favorite.
I've learned.
That was one of my favorite ones. Richard, what about you?
But sorry. I mean, what you just said, that experience, I feel like travel, that kind of stuff with travel, that's what makes you richer in life.
Oh yeah,
that's what gives you that not just storytelling ability, but those things that make you somebody who understands the world, people around you, and you come back to your hometown with an open mind. So happy to have understood something different and new, sure. which is huge.
I'll tell you that my whole trip changed my perspective on not just life, but on how to treat people, how to accept people, how to understand people. I realized a lot when you travel, when you're here in Canada, you think that everyone lives in Canada, whether you come from different backgrounds. I speak a certain way. I think everyone understands what I speak because I speak English. But everybody's come from a different upbringing, comes from a different place. Things mean different things in different situations, the tone of your voice, everything. And I think that one of the biggest lessons I took from travel is that even if everyone speaks English or everyone speaks Greek or Italian or Arabic, whatever, everywhere has different mannerisms, different ways they convey things, different personalities. And you have to really try to step back and see what people are saying, because what they're always saying is not always what they mean. And I just think you have to be very open-minded and interact with people, because some people, Japan, they're very cold and standoffish, but that doesn't mean they hate you.
It's the antidote to ignorance.
There you go. That brings it full circle.
It's full circle for sure.
I love it.
What about you, partner?
A couple that really stand out. First is the Great Wall of China.
Oh, amazing.
I was just so amazed by. So fun fact. And this is an easy bet you can make with any of your friends, and you'll win 9 times out of 10. If you ask them how long the Great Wall of China is, everyone's going to say, I don't know, it goes around China. Okay, maybe 10,000 kilometers. No, it's 23,000 kilometers long.
Wow.
So some points it's just a path. But if you Google the Great Wall of China, I believe it's 23,000 kilometers. So that's basically east coast to west coast of Canada and back.
It's crazy.
And back.
Because it goes all around, and it's all the way
aliens
up.
made it
so
for sure.
Some points it is just a path, but if you Google the Great Wall of China, I think it's 23.
I'm going to interrupt you for a second, because you mentioned east to west Canada, and through this whole COVID situation, we've done so much research on regional travel, and we've sent 2 different trips that have canceled to different places in Canada, and our country is unbelievable.
Yeah.
There's so much to see, and so much luxury, so much amazing scenery, so much. It's just, there's so much to explore within Canada itself, that if we're taking a break from travel this year, we don't actually have to. Whether you're going to the Great Bear Rainforest in BC and staying at places like Chillicothe or Nemo Bay, or going all the way to the East End and staying, there's Fogo Island and Fogo Island Inn, which is all unbelievable.
That's that wood
placing.
structure that's like on the cliffs or whatever.
And
or like in the
that structure, that hotel there, fully sustains the entire community of Fogo Island.
Really?
And it's just such a cool experience to see something like that in our own country. Obviously, we got the Muskokas, and last weekend I was up with some friends of mine and my wife at the French River. So further north than Muskokas.
I love French River.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I mean, and like we have that luxury, and it happens to be summer while we're stuck at home. It would be very different. It was the other way around for winter, but like, don't hold up at home. Everybody, get out there.
Don't take your backyard for granted.
Yeah, absolutely,
There's so
absolutely.
much.
I guess this is a perfect segue to announce our contest. It's not finalized yet, but
this is actually a good episode to announce. I didn't even think about that.
So we're gonna be giving away flights and hotel to a trip to Thunder Bay.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So
We actually have a buddy. So
shout out, Dirty Dom, our boy
Dirty
Dom
Dom.
thinks he.
So Dom actually, they work in the hotel industry.
They own a Hilton, Hampton Inn Suites, the family.
Yeah.
In Thunder Bay, it's actually the top ranked. TripAdvisor, Google, all the ranking systems is a top ranked hotel in Thunder Bay.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, so his family owns it out there. So he's
We'll
gonna be
get him on
coming
the
down to the
podcast.
city.
Figure we'll do like.
So we're gonna do a giveaway, basically a trip to, not a full trip, but flights and hotel to Thunder Bay in a couple weeks. So kind of perfect time, because talking about traveling in our own country, like Thunder Bay is basically our backyard, right? But just even while we were talking about that, I pulled up the exact number. It's 21,196 kilometers. Wow. The Great Wall of China. 21,196 kilometers long.
Yeah, you can't even calculate.
Seeing the Great Wall of China was just absolutely amazing. Like that was an experience I'll definitely, again, with one of my best friends, my family, like his family, just such an unbelievable experience. That was one of them. I'd say when we were in Dubrovnik, the first time, Buzabar, the time you screwed up your ear.
Still so fun.
Like, again, that was that day, just sitting there, relaxing, having a couple drinks was good.
Did a Game of Thrones tour. I'd never seen Game of Thrones in my life.
Tour.
So I'm just like tagging, like, so you wanted to go? I'm like, I'll go, whatever. And they're explaining this. But I'm
doing my birthday in Ushuaia, Ibiza, my favorite place on earth. Again, another.
I think it is a great hotel.
Ushuaia is your favorite place in Ibiza.
Yeah,
we've also just stayed there because of like the beach parties up there in the pool.
Of course.
Honestly, I do think it's nice.
My favorite country, my favorite island. Sorry.
Yeah,
Ibiza is an unbelievable island, and I say that with the other side of the island. And
like a lot of people think it's just partying, but there's a lot of other sides.
For me, the north side of the island is unbelievable.
Is that Dantoni?
No. That's east.
East.
West. Sorry, you're right. West.
Yeah, west. Right?
The northwest is beautiful, untouched beaches, amazing villas, delicious food, seafood that's insane. So you can have such different experiences on that same island, and it's crazy.
Because that's example Formentera.
I did it, in Formentera.
We've never been,
and I did it over the years. When you do it over the years, you start out going to Ushuaia and partying, and you start out going to all the clubs in DC-10 and watching the plays. Yeah. You eventually make your way further up to a villa that's more like you and your friends with a pool, and you eventually end up at a place with friends and their kids and your kids, and you've got the bigger pool
and King Magnus
on the beach, and King Magnus is racking up those aeroplane miles. And,
No, it is. We've unfortunately haven't seen Formentera. We've gotten four, even three.
I did once without you. Me and John went.
Yeah. But those are some good trips. I had another thing I wanted to jump back. I've done that point.
Yeah, I'm done.
This is gonna loop back, and it's kind of like a digression, and but it's one thing I wanted to say when you made the point earlier about when we were talking about what the Pelican Club does, and again, so people understand, we're talking about like our trips now, but we want to, this gives an insight into how you view things, because you are the Pelican Club, you and your team and all that stuff, but to kind of bring it back home, when I made the point of and you made the point as well, it could be $7,000-8,000 trip, it can be $100,000 trip, and not everyone has the luxury of spending $100,000 on a trip, but the difference is that I've found in the way you describe things, and you've talked to me about how you do things, and you showed me the itineraries and all that stuff. $7,000-8,000, it might be a lot for some people, but would you not want that $7,000 or $8,000 to feel like $100,000? I mean, I can tell you personally, like I've planned a lot of. I'll let you jump in if you want. Yeah.
A lot of people think they're spending $4K and end up coming home and spending 6.5 to 8.
Yeah.
It's about being honest with yourself about what you want as your experience and saying, from the start, let's put this out there and say this is our commitment of price. And then you can really make it worth it. You can really go into detail and say like, okay, that's your price. You've got to hit some amazing street markets and cool street food and then this unbelievable Michelin star restaurant. Mm-hmm. Or you could go to like 4 or 5 mediocre restaurants, figure it out on your own and not necessarily get that same touch. Yeah. But like, you got places like Singapore like that where the street stalls are the place to be. Thailand as well.
$20 on a Michelin star meal.
Exactly.
But you have to know the right one to go to.
Correct.
I know the one you're talking about, and they've also branched off, and now they have one that there's in the mall now. There's one somewhere else.
For sure.
So the original food cart, I forget the name of it.
Yeah.
But it's like the cheapest Michelin star restaurant in the world, and it's the original cart is in a certain mall, or a certain like food vendor area. But again, he's the guy who started it spun off a bunch of different ones. So you might not go to the original.
And I'm going to tell you, yeah, for sure. And I'm going to tell you something else we recently did. You mentioned earlier that you tried to plan Japan. You've been already?
I did.
Okay.
I planned. That was kind of like
one of the craziest places on the planet to plan a trip to because you really need to know. Oh, yeah. You really need to know.
Not a lot of English going on down there.
We have a client just now that's came to us and she's giving her husband a present as a trip to Japan. She wanted to book the flights. And I said, you know what? Let's take a step back because there's so many variables to this. Let's just give him a birthday present because she had a very short timeline to get that birthday present. I was like, okay, let's spend $200-300, whatever it is, and I'm going to put something together for you. And we put together a birthday present box, which was all things Japan. So he opened this box, 2 fake boarding passes that were his trip thing, a map of Tokyo. Inside was the best sake, the best soy sauce, unbelievable treats, a meal from Skippa. Shout out to Skippa.
I think the camera
restaurant.
Did it die? Skippa's I heard is amazing. It's still good. We're still recording on here. We're kind of nearing that point. But yeah, continue. No.
Yeah. So
yeah,
absolutely like one of those things where you don't always have to also like it's such a good way to give a gift.
Yeah.
And some of the best gifts are not tangible. They're experiential.
So the other one. It's good. Is it flashing another one? We're good.
One full. That's all it's flashing.
It's not going to number 2?
No.
Oh, fuck's sakes. It's all right. We're good. Sorry. Just sorry about that, Cham. Jump back. So, you said shout out Skippa. We said then.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's amazing to give a gift of an experience over something tangible.
Yeah.
And an experience like a trip to Japan for this guy's 40th birthday is something he's never going to forget. And it's going to be an unbelievable situation. But it's also, Japan's the kind of place where you got to take your time and understand when you're going.
Yep.
Make sure you've got the right restaurants down. The most Michelin star restaurants in the world in that country.
Yep.
The most amazing experiences from sumo and sake and omakazes and going to
cultural, the temples,
and and staying at some unbelievable properties, seeing Mount Fuji. It's just a country that is
you need a long time.
Exceptional. Yeah.
You can do multiple trips there and not see all of it.
Oh, absolutely. But I also say that for cities like London. So I've lived in London. I lived in London for 9 years, and I know London better than most people that live in London because I showed people London and I sent people around. But there's still places in London that shock me when I go back on a regular basis that I'm like, did not know this existed, and it's in the heart of the city. And that's something amazing about traveling to different places over and over because you start to get back into it and you're like, oh, I'm going to do something completely different this time. I'm going to experience this city in a different way. So because you've been somewhere doesn't mean you've done it. Yeah. It's kind of the point there. It's like you can go back and do it multiple times and have 10 different experiences. Just know not to do the same stuff or know to tell the person who's helping you plan it, I've already seen the Buckingham Palace or whatever it is. So.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And to that point too, like I was just even like the thing I brought up about Japan, and I guess we're kind of near the end, so I'll kind of hit it with this one, and we'll hammer some more points home with the Pelican Club, so people know where to reach you and stuff like that. But when I planned Japan, this is when I've started to realize like you can't make everybody happy, and I to this point it was nearing not the end of my trip, but it was April 2018. Like my parents came to me for my birthday, my brother and his now wife, and then Ricky and his parents came. This is like the China-Japan part of the trip, so I had like everything planned to a T. Like literally everything. Most of my trip was by myself. I could fly by the seat of my pants, go where I wanted, when I wanted. Didn't have to plan much, and I knew where I wanted to go. But I was planning this trip, and yeah, our dads are very similar. Our moms are very similar. Our dads are very similar. They're very like, need to know what's going on. Always go, go, go. And I had everything planned. I was like, guys, like, you know, Japan, when you take the Japan Rail, the GRT, like, I'm like, guys, you know, culturally, everything here is so precise. Like, you don't have to worry. You're not going to have late trains. You're not going to miss this. Everything operates to clockwork here. So I like have everything planned. Then I'd be like, guys, you know, we're going to show up here at this time. We're going to get on this train. We're going to stand on this marker on the floor because very organized there. And, you know, trying to plan a trip with me and Rick, who know how to travel together. He knows when not to bother me. I know when to ask for help. And I know my brother, the same thing. But, you know, we got us, then we got our parents, and then we got, you know, a lot of different dynamics. So I'm trying to keep everybody in line. A country that does not have a lot of English on the signs. It doesn't speak a lot of English, and culturally is very different. And you know, I can tell you at that point, I've realized I'm like, as I go forward when I plan trips, I'm going to use someone like the Pelican Club to help me plan these things and organize things to make it very black and white, because I'm trying to explain this to, like, you know, my father, my parents. Okay, this is what we're going to do. And they still look at you like, you know, I'm their son, so what do I know? Even though I've been around the world at that point.
Which is actually a very good segue. So I'll kind of run you through now. So we handle full trip planning, start to finish, for every member of the trip. Everything from personalized itineraries that are hard copy, in your hand, tangible, that you can put on a shelf and say, I'm going to come back to this as a magazine to remember this occasion, to a digital version which you can follow along on your phone. So you might be digital, you know, your dad might be flipping through page 6 and going, we need to be here next. But it's created for everybody, and at the same time, we follow you throughout your trip. We make sure hotels know you're arriving before you arrive. Your car transfers there before you get out of the airplane, and everything is done to a T, so you don't have to worry. And the whole creation behind this concept is to take the stress, take the worry, take the time, take the energy out of planning and move it into enjoying, and move it into spending your experience with your family, just going like, okay, we know what to do. Like, let's see this market, you know, not think about 10 things more than that. Or let's get out of the hotel first thing in the morning, not plan our day in the morning. And that makes such a different aspect to having that worry-free, carefree mentality when you're out somewhere. And you're using experts who we're not choosing places based on the fact that they are giving us a kickback or because they are TripAdvisor worthy. We're choosing them because they're suited to what you want on that specific trip.
Got it.
Now, you want to spend $10K more? We'll get you on that boat or on that penthouse suite or whatever it is that you want. But again, it's about getting it right for you and making sure you have this unbelievable experience. And you can reach us online on our website, thepelican.club, or the Pelican_club on Instagram. Please follow us and check us out.
Oh, we'll share. We'll get.
Oh yeah, we'll
I like that person. We usually ask at them, like, people want to find out to reach you, but
he knows how to hit it.
I like that.
Yeah. And just to finish that last point, if I had you guys around that time, I wouldn't have to dealing with my dad and dealing with Frank trying to explain.
My dad wasn't even as bad.
My dad, they had to know always where to be at all times. And I'm like, guys, just like, I would tell them, but they didn't have it with them, so they needed to know. And I hate people asking me questions over and over,
especially if I was hungover.
Yeah, if I could, I wasn't hungover that day. We're going down
on
to
the
Kyoto.
train ride.
Yeah. So if I gave them this itinerary and I said, just be on this train at this time, don't worry, don't even ask me questions, just be there. It would have saved me a lot of headaches.
And the fun part is we don't just do the itinerary. So you saw the one I sent you. It's like, okay, this is what you're doing. This is day one. It's all interactive. You can click on stuff. And then in between day one, there's just an expose about stuff happening, you know, a history of that area or something you need to know, or fun facts, general information, you know, like a lot of times you just don't understand the tipping culture, the electricity out there, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Everything's provided start to finish, and you know, for your dad and for you, it's such a different experience, but you'll both have a different way of looking at that trip.
For sure.
And go, okay, generational trip, we're covered. This guy has given us both what we need in our hands to not have to get at each other's throats.
Yeah, that would help a lot. I think that's honestly a perfect way to hit it up.
I
mean, this has been great. This time's flown by.
Yeah,
I could talk about travel forever. But
and you know what? It's very fitting, because now that travel is starting to open up again, people are starting to look forward to it. It's very fitting, because we actually recorded a podcast about traveling to, I think it was Europe or Asia, back in March.
Yeah.
And we were supposed to release it on March 17th.
When everything shut down.
It literally shut down the city on like
tone deaf.
March
like,
like
this doesn't make any sense. But
so we actually still have it.
Do we?
You have it.
I must have it.
You must. So maybe we'll release that one day.
I got to re-listen to it. It's like a 30-minute episode.
Yeah.
But this, I think, is very informative. You know, and I think that it's good. People reach out to you, like they can see. I know that the Pelican Club has stuff they post on the Instagrams and your profile and all that stuff. So I'm sure they can reach out for questions and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll share all
Anytime,
the share all the
absolutely.
social media links as well, and definitely a lot of our followers will be interested because a lot of our followers are similar to us, where they love to travel. But couple quick questions we usually ask every. We always
Do you know what
ask.
we're gonna ask?
No.
Oh
sick.
yes.
Which means I've never made it to the end.
He never made it to the end. Caught him.
most
Hey,
people
at least he's honest
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it. Okay, if there was a movie about your life, who would you want to star as you?
I'm going to go, because he kind of looks like me with the nose, I'm going to go with Adrian Brody,
Okay, we haven't got that
the
one.
pianist.
Yeah, I know
Gotta
exactly
see
who it is.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That was quick. That was good.
Yeah.
Okay, and my question is, if you could give one piece of advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Don't overthink it. Just go. Just do it. Don't stop yourself. Don't make excuses. Don't use your surrounding and situations that are happening in the world or whatever's going on. And I know COVID's very active right now, but don't use this stuff as reason to not do things, not experience things, not be places, not get out there. There's always ways to get shit done.
Mm-hmm. That's great
I like
advice.
it. I like it. So, again, just to reiterate, in terms of if people want to find out more about you, the Pelican Club, and what you're doing, where can they go?
So you can go to our website, thepelican.club, or on our Instagram, thepelican_club. We're also on Facebook and Twitter and everything else. You'll find us there. I'm sure you guys will share some of those links on your
100%.
social.
Yeah.
But yeah, can I finish with something there?
Yeah, of
100%.
course.
So I actually wanted to say that, I said this before, but travel kind of makes you a storyteller. So I'm going to give one embarrassing story of myself.
Let's hear it.
Beauty. I love it.
And it was just a quick ending. Boom.
My honeymoon, and we'll end right at the peak of the story of my honeymoon. My wife and I were in Bora Bora for part of it, and while in Bora Bora, we decided to go on a swimming with the sharks adventure. And for those who know me, know that I have issues where my shoulder dislocates when I do aggressive activities. This happened because of a stupid incident when I was like 18, 19. But anyway, we're on this boat, and the boat guys start throwing fish into the water, and these sharks are just eating it all up. And then they go, all right, get in, guys. Snorkel. Check it out. They're like...
Yeah, it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah. So... I'm like, I got to do this. I've paid for this excursion. This is going to happen. I lower myself down the side of the boat, and as I get into the water, my shoulder dislocates. I'm in the water with sharks everywhere. There's a massive lemon shark below me, and I can't. I'm like struggling.
One
arm, just trying to get out of
my
there.
strong
And the
hand.
guy's like, look below you. There's a massive shark. And I'm like, okay, great. I'm just going to get the fuck out of here right now. Again, an experience that I will never, ever forget. I got back out. My shoulder was fine. Got back in, saw them. But, I mean...
I'd be so scared.
Yeah, you got to just do it. Get in there, jump in the water, jump off that cliff, get on that plane, and you suck it up. You're going to have a blast.
Yeah. It's honestly the best memories are made outside of the comfort zone when you step out there.
Agreed.
That's a great story to end it on.
Agreed, yeah. Honestly, again,
The lesson learned
Guys,
from
thank
that,
you
if you
so
got a
much
dislocated shoulder, don't go swimming with sharks.
Yeah. Also, thank you so much for having me on. This has been fantastic to chat with the two of
course,
you.
man.
You
this is
guys are
awesome.
brilliant.
Thanks for the gift, the wine.
No, not at all. I mean-
you were a great guest. Again, I hope our followers check out the Pelican Club.
Awesome.
It's something that, again, a
Jack,
lot of our followers and listeners are very similar to me and George, where they love to travel and love kind of chasing that adventure and thrill seeking. So I'm sure that a lot of people will be reaching out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and we're all
And
for free
obviously-
advice as well. So give us a shout, even if you got questions. And we're happy.
Awesome. This has been great. Thank you again for thank you for the gifts. Thanks for coming on. And hopefully we'll be planning some trips soon.
Absolutely. Pleasure, guys.
All right.
Signing off, pals.
Cheers, boys.